All right. I hope I'm audible. Please put your response in the chat box if I'm audible. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Also, let me know if my screen is visible to all of you. Is the syllabus screen is visible? All right. All right. Thank you very much, dear students. I deeply apologize for technical issues in the beginning of the lecture. But anyway, forget about all. Next time it won't happen. Dear students, let me place on record my sincere thanks to CDOE for giving me this opportunity to interact with you on a very important subject, that is introduction to environment, which University Grants Commission has made it as a compulsory course for 4 credits in undergraduate level. This particular course is designed for 2 credits, and the course is spread over 4 modules. I will quickly go through the overview of syllabus and evaluation pattern, and then we will start with our lecture. There are 4 modules. First module is Introduction to Environmental Studies, wherein we will be talking about definition, nature, and scope of environmental studies. We will also try to understand the dynamic nature of man and nature relationship, and also different kinds of issues that are created at different spatial levels caused by human interaction with environment, and also geological transformations or environmental transformations over the geological period in the natural environment, leading to extinction of important species. So we'll be talking about how this interaction leads to various environmental issues at global, regional, and local level environmental issues, and what are the approaches of human being to deal with these issues with developments in the technology, and also developing conservative approach of human being over the period of time as response to various environmental issues that are threatening life on the earth's surface. We will also be discussing components of environment. As far as the natural environment is concerned, it has 3 major kinds of components. Some components of abstract components, some are abiotic components, and some are biotic components, which includes living organisms. We will try to understand their significance in sustaining the environment, and also their economic importance as far as different economic operations are taken into consideration. And lastly, we will be discussing the structure of environment. Now, the whole system of environment includes different components, and these components are structured in an appropriate manner, leading to the development of environmental system. I will explain you in the detail when we'll start with the first module in an elaborative manner. The second module is dedicated to ecosystem, wherein we will be beginning our lecture with what is ecosphere, what is ecology, and what is ecosystem. We are also going to discuss some of the important concepts related to ecology, such as habitat, endangered species, extinction of species, and several other elements in that. We will also try to understand different components of ecosystem and their interaction with each other. Then we will also discuss energy flow in the ecosystem. In fact, ecosystem is a active element of nature wherein there is a continuous flow of energy is expected. And when we talk about flow of energy in the ecosystem, it is necessarily to understand that the flow of energy in the ecosystem occurs through food chain or food web, wherein one organism is food for the other organism. So again, there is a different trophic levels at which this particular energy in the ecosystem get transformed, and there are specific set of organisms at every trophic level which play important role in maintaining the balance of ecosystem. We will also briefly discuss about different types of ecosystem based on their spatial distribution and also based on their existence, like 71%, closely 71% of the earth surface is covered with water, and therefore the organisms that live in the water forms the aquatic ecosystem, whereas the ecosystem that developed on the land is called as terrestrial ecosystem. Third module is dedicated to natural resources. It is needless to say that natural resources play significant role in the economic development and various economic activities that is performed by human being at different levels. We will start with the definition of natural resources, and also we'll try to understand how resources are developed, how endowment become potentiality, and how potentiality is converted into resource. What are the important factors that are controlling the utilization of resource? We will start discussing in the beginning of this particular topic, and we are going to discuss various classification of resources. There are various bases of classification based on which we can classify resources into different types. Based on ownership, based on nature, based on availability, based on renewability, we can classify resources into different types. So we'll talk about that in this particular part in detail. Along with the classification of resources, we are also going to discuss significance of natural resources in the viewpoint of economic activities, economic progress of the country, and also how these natural resources, thank you, are important for sustenance of natural environment. So ecological significance of natural resources and economic importance of natural resources. In these two viewpoints, we are going to discuss this particular point. The third point in the third module is associated with different environmental problems which are caused by unwise or irrational utilization of resources with reference to forest and water resources. So, we'll be talking about what are the facts about forest resources in the world and what are the important problems, I mean, environmental problems associated with exploitation of forest. Similarly, we will be talking about degradation of water resources in both in terms of qualitative degradation as well as quantitative degradation and various factors causing degradation of water resources globally. Also, we will be looking forward for some important measures to control the environmental problems associated with both forest resources and water resources. Fourth module is about biodiversity and its conservation, wherein we will be talking about the concept of biodiversity and different levels or different types of biodiversity, including species diversity, genetic diversity, and ecosystem diversity. We will discuss with the help of various examples here. Then we'll be talking about biodiversity hotspots. There are various biodiversity hotspots that are identified globally. There are 12 known biodiversity hotspots across the globe, of which four are there in India. And what is these biodiversity hotspots and what are the characteristics of biodiversity hotspots? And in what way these biodiversity hotspots are at risk in these days? We will try to understand with some facts and figures from the world databases. And last point, threats to biodiversity. What are the man-made factors that are contributing to the biodiversity threats? And what are the methods of biodiversity conservation? Now, conservation of biodiversity is basically at the level of protection of species that are endangered. You all must be knowing that International Union for Conservation of Nature is responsible for maintaining the global database on threatened species under red list. I'll be talking about that in a detail and latest data we will discuss so that we will be able to understand to what extent the biodiversity is being threatened. So these are the four modules. Module 1, Introduction to Environmental Studies. Module 2, Ecosystems. Module 3, Natural Resources. And Module 4, Biodiversity and its Conservation. These are the four important modules designed for this particular syllabus. As far as the examination pattern is concerned, there is a continuous evaluation through class test, presentations, quizzes, which will be decided at CDOE level. But the semester end examination carries the weightage of 30 marks, wherein there shall be two questions of 15 marks each with internal options, and the whole syllabus will be covered within that. So, this is a brief introduction about the syllabus. If we talk about the question paper pattern, there are only two questions. Question number one will be based on module number one, and module number two will be for 15 marks. It might be divided into 7 and 8 marks question within question number one. Question number two will be based on module number three and module number four for 15 marks again. Again, there will be one question for 7.5 marks and second question will be for 7.5 marks. So, weightage to each of these chapters or modules will be 7.5 marks. So, 7.5 for the first module, 7.5 for the second module, so that 15 marks are covered here. Again, 7.5 for third module and 7.5 for fourth module, 15 marks. So, 15 plus 15 is the 30 marks weightage. So, this is the overview of syllabus. I felt very important to discuss the overview of the syllabus in the beginning. I hope you all are with me and you are able to understand you are able to listen to my voice clearly. Please put in the chat box so that we can immediately start with the first module. All right. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, thank you. So, with your permission, let us start with the first module. Just a second. Uh, so, I hope the screen which I have shared is visible to all of you on the screen. Is it visible? Okay, thank you. So, let us begin with the first module. The paper is Introduction to Environment. The syllabus is spread over the four modules. Introduction to Environmental Studies is the first module. Ecosystems is the second module. Natural resources is the third module. And biodiversity and its conservation is the fourth module. I will try to cover major part of the first module in this lecture, and then rest of the part we will discuss in the lecture schedule tomorrow. So, dear students, in this particular module, we are going to discuss environmental studies, definition, nature, and scope of environmental studies, the environment or environmental system, components of environmental system and types of environmental system, and structure of environmental system we are going to discuss today. Probably we will cover the first point and second point in this particular lecture. All right. First of all, let us try to understand what are the objectives of this particular topic module. After the module is over, all the students are able to understand these features. Number one, you all will be able to demonstrate and analyze the knowledge on the facts about the natural environment. We all will be able to understand natural environment and in its components. We must understand to establish the relationship between living organisms and their abiotic surrounding. This is very important, dear students, that although we make a straightaway classification of the components of environment into two, living environment and non-living environment, or organic environment and inorganic environment, or biotic environment and abiotic environment. But let me tell you very frankly that although we do this kind of compartment, this kind of division of the nature's component, they cannot be divided or they cannot be separated from each other easily, because there are continuous interactions that are going between the living organisms and its abiotic surrounding. Like for example, the moment which where when I'm talking to all of you, breathing, I'm doing breathing, that's why I'm alive. And when I'm doing breathing, I'm inhaling the oxygen and I'm out breathing the carbon dioxide, for instance. So I'm continuously interacting with the atmosphere around. When I eat something, the energy that enters in my body, which will help me to work physically as well as mentally throughout the day. So there is a continuous interaction between the living organisms and non-living surrounding of the organisms, and the existence of that particular organisms depend upon the abiotic surrounding. In the beginning, I just would like to ask you a very simple question, just to make clear that you all have understood that living organisms and their non-living or abiotic surrounding are interlinked with each other. I would just give a very simple question and we'll try to understand whether you have understood my point or not. See, you all must be aware about the polar bears. Okay, so polar bears are normally found in the Arctic region, tundra region particularly. My question is, if we take this polar bear away from the tundra region, or snow covered region, permanently frost region in the Arctics, and we take them to a tropical country like India, do you feel that these polar bears will be able to survive for a long? Answer is yes or no. I'll just switch on my screen to the chat box. Okay, Shrikant, it's semester one. Unfortunately, I have put it a semester two. No, no issue. All right. So all of you are answering no. All right. Very good. So you all are with me actually now, that the living organisms and their abiotic surroundings cannot be separated from each other because they are interlinked with each other, and the answer of all of you supports the same. But if we talk about the types of environment, there are two types of environment: the natural environment and the anthropogenic environment. Dear students, the natural environment, the word itself is self-explanatory. Natural environment is made by nature, sustained by nature naturally. without any human intervention. So, natural environment is there in the nature naturally. Forest, land, river, glaciers, snow cover areas, peaks of mountains, plateaus, valleys, beautiful flowering plants, different kinds of birds, animals, fishes, all of them, even human being is also the part of natural environment or physical environment because it exists in nature naturally, which follows the law of nature. All of the elements follows the law of nature. However, anthropogenic environment, which is also considered to be the artificial environment, which is controlled by human being, like for example technological advancements, different kinds of human activities that people perform, right from driving the car up till cooking the food. All these environments that are created, all the activities that are created are impacted or controlled by human being. So agricultural field itself is a classic example of anthropogenic environment, because what to grow and in what fashion to grow and when to grow crops in the agricultural field is determined by human being. So it is controlled by human being. That's why it is called as anthropogenic environment. So anthropogenic environment is the environment which is controlled by man, and natural environment is the environment which is not controlled by man, which is controlled by nature with the help of natural laws. Okay, so natural laws are followed, follows this natural environment, whereas human control or human activities is controlling the anthropogenic environment. But again, it's a very important thing that anthropogenic environment is not, cannot be easily separated from natural environment. In fact, natural environment and anthropogenic environment go hand in hand. Why? Because anthropogenic environment, although we talk about it, cannot be separated from natural environment. My question again to all of you, that if a human being wants to grow rice in his agricultural field, will he be able to grow rice in his agricultural field without soil, water, and sunlight? Yes or no? Will human being or will farmer be able to grow? Answer is no. Correct. Very good. Why? Because even though the see, agricultural activities is an anthropogenic environment, but as you have mentioned rightly, that although it's an anthropogenic environment, it cannot be performed or it cannot be generated or it cannot be operated without the help of natural environment. And that is the reason why every now and then we see that man or human being depend upon nature. Although anthropogenic environment is controlled by man or human being, it directly or indirectly depend upon the nature, right? So that's how the difference between the natural environment and anthropogenic environment. And what is the important objective of this topic is you all must be able to distinguish or differentiate between the natural environment and the anthropogenic environment. All right, and the last objective is to understand nature and structure of the natural environment. My dear students, natural environment is made up of four different spheres. Number one is the sphere of land, okay, to which we call as lithosphere. Number two is the sphere of water, to which we called as hydrosphere. Number three, the sphere of gases around us is the atmosphere. And number four, all living organisms on this planet forms the biosphere. So lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. These are the four spheres together forms the natural environment. And biosphere is the element of the natural environment which includes living organisms cannot survive without these rays three: lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. Will I be able to survive without water, without soil, and without atmospheric gases? Answer is no. Will I be able to grow food without sunlight, without water, without soil? Answer is no. And that is the reason why, again, I am telling you that just like living organisms and non living surrounding, just like natural environment and anthropogenic environment, although they are separated, they cannot be separated from each other directly or indirectly. They are interlinked. And similarly here, different components of the natural environment which structures the natural environment, or which is the element of the environment, natural environmental structure, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere, although they are four distinct, but they are interlinked with each other. I hope you are agree with me. Do you agree with me that all these spheres are interlinked with each other? All right. All right. Uh, Arjun says that it's little fast. Okay. I will slow down my speed. These are just objectives. That's why I taken it little fast. I'm going to discuss each and every point in detail. Don't worry. All right. Let us start with. Okay. Are you all with me? Is everything going fine? Okay, thank you. Let us, yeah, thank you very much. So let us start with the first module actually. Now we are going to start with the actual lecture of the first module, environmental studies. See, the topic that is titled as environmental studies itself is interdisciplinary in nature, because environmental studies do not focus on the social and economic aspects of the natural environment, and it is also not focusing alone the physical or physiographic aspects of the natural environment. It basically tried to understand the interaction and interrelationship between humans and the natural system. So both anthropogenic environment or man-made environment or artificial environment and the natural environment together are interacting with each other continuously. So, environmental studies is the interdisciplinary field. Why interdisciplinary? Because we need to understand the knowledge about physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, sociology, political science, economics, on all the subjects. The principles of all the subjects together. We need to understand to study the environmental and the natural environment. That's why we need to have differential approach, or vast approach to integrate knowledge of different subjects. That's why we call it as interdisciplinary. Okay, so mathematics is not interdisciplinary subject because it is just a numbers with one mathematician is dealing with. Economics is a very distinctive subject wherein we are going to talk about economics, uh, demand and supply, distribution of material, production, and all these things, prices and all. So it is a distinct subject. But environmental studies is the subject wherein we need to integrate the knowledge of economics also, physics also, chemistry also, biology also, mathematics also, statistics also. We also require to get the knowledge from zoology also. We also need to get the knowledge from geology also, geography also. So we integrate the knowledge of different subjects to understand interaction between human being and the surrounding, and that is the reason why environmental studies is a interdisciplinary nature. And the goal of environmental studies is to conserve the natural resources and sustain the well-being of human being and the natural environment. So we need to sustain the planet also, we need to sustain the human well-being also, and we need to conserve the natural environment also. So what are the strategies required for that, or what are the systems that are required to be developed, is the subject matter of environmental studies. So E.O. Wilson, a very popular biologist and conservationalist, speaks about the environmental studies as an interdisciplinary field that seeks to understand the interaction between human and natural systems, and also to develop strategies for managing and conserving natural resources in a way that sustains the health and well-being of human beings and the planet. Environmental studies, the second definition given by David Suzuki, again, environmentalist and scientist, he says that environmental studies is not just about studying the environment, it's about changing the world, because the environment is a very dynamic concept. Remember, just imagine that we are in the Jurassic period, which is a geological period which was dominated by dinosaurs at that time. Remember those times. So there were only dinosaurs as a very major and powerful species, used to control the entire world. Imagine what would have been the situation of human being at that particular time. It's impossible for human being to sustain in such environment. But over the period of time, the nature started changing because of change in the natural systems over the geological period of time. You must have heard about Cretaceous period, then Cambrian period, pre-Cambrian period, and all. So these are the geological period which helps us to understand that over the period of time, the natural environment is also changing. So the goal of environmental studies is not just to understand the natural environment, but also the changes that are taken place in the world over the period of time, both naturally and due to human activities. The changes that are taking place in the nature is both caused by natural processes as well as human activities, or human impact is there in changing the natural environment. So extinction of dinosaurs in the Jurassic period. The dinosaurs were there, very powerful species were there, but due to change in the natural conditions, the dinosaurs say are extincted. There are no dinosaurs alive on the planet now. So the dinosaurs, although were a very powerful organisms, they are not sustaining themselves. They could not sustain themselves in the natural environment over the geological period of time. So in that case, the change in the situation in the environment, that is not caused by human being, because that time human being were not there, but it was changed by the natural processes. But what happened to the forest now? What happened to the water bodies now? What happened to the atmospheric gases now? What happens to the land now? What happens to the soil now? Is because majorly because of the human activity. So human actions are also responsible for change in the world, change in the environment, or change in the nature. So according to David Suzuki, that environmental studies is not just the study about the environment, but also its dynamic nature or changing the world, and recognizing that we are the part of natural world. Human being cannot be separated from the natural world. In fact, we are the part of, as I made a mention in the beginning, that human being itself is a part of natural environment. We are not separated from environment. We are the part of natural environment. Only the thing is that human being has some extra capabilities than that of other animals, and that's why human being has started controlling the nature. That's the only thing. Otherwise, we are also the part and parcel of natural environment. But increasing interventions or increasing, say, interference of human being in the natural environment is causing various issues. There are two types of issues. Number one is issues related to health and well-being of human being, and second, issues with respect to the natural environment. So, environmental problems as well as social and economic and health issues of human being. These are the two major issues that are growing day by day. You all might be agree with me. I don't know. You must be agree with me that the recent pandemic that we have witnessed in 2020 and 2021 is that is COVID-19 is also an important evidence of environment's response to human interventions. Human activities have destroyed nature in such a way that now environment has started responding human being in form of such kind of pandemics. Hundreds and thousands and lakhs of peoples are dying, died due to the pandemic situation that was created in 2020, and the same was influenza in 1920, 100 years back. So the human interventions are also harming human being. At the same time, it is also harming the natural environment. So that's all about the definition of natural environmental study. Now, the environmental studies, as I have made a mention in the beginning of the slide, previous slide, is that it is an interdisciplinary subject. Why? Because environmental studies, even if we talk about environment, we need to talk about water resources, we need to talk about natural resources, we need to talk about human activities, we need to talk about various environmental issues, we need to talk about government policies on environment, we need to talk about political interventions in the natural environment, we need to talk about economic development or infrastructure development and its impact on the natural environment, we need to talk about human activities which is responsible for destruction of natural environment, we need to talk about technological advancement that are taking place over the period of time. So when we talk about environment, we need to talk about different dimensions of the environment: political dimension, economic dimension, technological dimensions, physiographical dimensions, mathematical, statistical dimensions. So there are various dimensions of environmental studies. In fact, it's a very vast subject which is interlinked with various disciplines, social sciences as well as natural sciences, as well as some pure sciences, like physics, chemistry, and biology. And that's why all the interactions or integration of all these sciences in studying the environment is being done by environmental studies, and that particular point of view, environmental studies is interdisciplinary in nature. Now, the main objectives or aim of man-nature relationship is to the environmental studies is to understand man-nature relationship. My question again to all of you, in a very simple question, that do you agree that man and environment, the relationship between man and environment today is different than that of the man and nature relationship, say 200 years back or 500 years back? So in what way human being were used to use the nature in 2000 in say 200 years back, and today what is the way by which man has using the nature? It was the period when human being used to pray the nature as God or worship the nature as God. Now what is happening? For satisfying human needs and wants, or for improving the living standard, man is exploiting the nature. Don't you feel that man and nature relationship is changing over the period of time? Yes or no? My question is, don't you think that man nature relationship is changing? Answer is yes. Yeah. Okay, how? Okay, how? I'll explain. Now, see, the nature man nature relationship is changing over the period of time because of the changing human life. So, human, we have started our evolution, say, about 2 million years ago from present. The first human being came into existence about 20 lakh years ago from today. At that time, human being, the life of human being was very primitive. He was just like other animals on the other creatures on the earth surface. He used to wander into the forested areas. Whatever he used to get, he used to eat and used to satisfy his needs. But slowly and steadily, human beings started understanding the nature and natural process, and he started understanding the use of natural environment, and then he has started using natural resources to make his life more comfortable. Technological advancement help him to use nature in a greater manner. Manufacturing industry started increasing the use of natural resources, and slowly and steadily human being has started controlling the nature. This is the period between from the uh, industrial revolutions till the 21st century. That was the period when the natural environment was used or exploited like anything. 21st century is the century wherein the natural environment is now giving responses in form of natural calamities, environmental issues, various health issues also among human beings. And that's why the man and nature relationship is changing over the period of time due to changing the human life. The life of human being was different in the past, the life of human being is different in the present, and the life of human being or nature of life of human being is going to be different in future. And that's why as the life of human being changes, the relationship between nature and man also keep on changing. There are, and that's why the nature man environment relationship is dynamic in nature. There are three important approaches to man nature relationship. One, environmental determinism. Two, possibilism. And three, neo-determinism. It is also called as stop and go determinism. Environmental determinism is the approach which speaks about supremacy of nature over human being. Some people like Ratzel, then we have uh, Immanuel Kant, then Darwin, Charles Darwin, you must have heard about. All these, even Ellen Semple, American environmentalist, all these geographers and environmentalists started believing that nature is supreme. In fact, all human activities are controlled by nature. In fact, all human activities are determined by nature. And that's why they have termed it as environmental determinism. I would give a very simple example of environmental determinism. Uh, my question again, that do you agree with me that people in Africa, majority of people in Africa are black in black skin color, and European people are white skin color, is because of the climate in their region? Yes or no? Do you agree with me? Yeah. All right, very good. So, thank you very much. So, the climatic conditions in Africa is such that the skin color turning to black because of the intense temperature out there. On the other hand, the Mediterranean region, wherein the temperatures are moderate, and that's why the skin color is white. It is not because the black color negro or negroes or negroids are substandard and the white color people are, supreme. It's not like that. It is because of the environment the life of human being has been changing. Now it's a onset of winter now. In this is November, first week of November. You all will be you all might be using sweaters and woolen clothes henceforth, because of the temperatures are going down now. And in the next week or maybe next month, the temperatures will be around 10 degrees Celsius or so. So you might not be using your air conditioning systems in your home. See, the changing in climatic conditions or changing in the conditions with change in the season is impacting your life. Yes or no? The answer is yes. In the rainy season, you might be using wind cheaters. In the rainy season, you might be using umbrellas. So this is how the nature is impacting your life, and that is the reason why many environmentalists do believe in environmental determinism. So environment is determining human life. So that's how the environmental determinism speaks about. I hope you all are agree with me. Just one or two. All right. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Now, the possibilism is the another approach. What is possibilism? See, the possibilism word is derived from a very simple English word, that is possible. It means that this particular approach of man-environment relationship speaks about the possibilities that human activities, or human abilities that can overcome the limitation of nature. I would give you one or two examples. Like for example, do you agree that even though in the summer season, a very hot and humid conditions, outside the temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, but inside the house or inside the office, when AC is on, the temperatures are 20 degrees Celsius or even less than 20 degrees Celsius. Is it possible? Yes or no? When the temperature outside is 40 degrees Celsius, but inside we control it to 20 degrees Celsius or even less? All right, answer is yes. Correct. So what is this? It is possible for human being to control the nature to certain extent. That is called as possibilism. So human being can change. Now always we believe that mango is the fruit. Normally we can reap it, and in the summer season, maybe after the month of March, April and May, we get lot many mangoes. But now, due to advancement in the technologies, we can also get mangoes in the month of September and October as well, because human abilities have made it possible to use that. Earlier, we used to have Kharif season and Rabi season, when we used to grow certain crops in Kharif season and certain crops in Rabi season. Now it's not a big deal. Human being can control the natural environment in a closed environment, and can grow any crop irrespective to the season. Agreed or not? Agreed? Very good. Yes. So that means it is possible for human being to control the nature. So environmental determinism says that nature is supreme, nature is controlling human life, whereas possibilism says that human being is supreme. In fact, the abilities of human being are such that human being can change the nature. So it can change the nature. It is possible for human being to change the nature. That's why it's possibilism, which is Vidal de la Blache and Fabre and so many other environmentalists. They believed in possibilism. And third one, dear students, is neo-determinism. Neo-determinism is the approach which speaks about the middle, or the golden midpoint between the environmental determinism and possibilism. Environmental determinism is extreme end, which speaks about nature's control. Possibilism is another end, which speaks about human control. Neo-determinism says that human being is also supreme and nature is also supreme. We have to bring them together. We have to bridge the gap between these two. And that's why neo-determinism, which was proposed by Griffith Taylor, says that human being should use the nature when nature is favorable, and human being should stop using nature when nature is non-favorable. I would give a very simple example. Do all of you have seen signals, traffic signals? Yes. So, what are the colors in traffic signals? The lights: red, yellow, and green. Yes or no? Red, yellow, and green. What do we do when red light is on in the when yes, when red is on? What do we do? Do we cross the road or do we stop? Correct. Do we stop? Right. And what will happen? What do we do when it turns to green? When it turns to green, what we'll do? We start or we cross the road, right? Go. Correct. Very good. Very good. So when nature is adverse, it's just like a traffic signal. When nature is adverse, we should stop. That means we should stop using the resources. We should stop fishing. We should stop cutting the trees. We should stop exploiting the nature. But when environment become favorable, when it turns to green light, for example, we should start using it for our economic development. So development or economic development and environmental sustainability should go hand in hand if we use the approach neo-determinism. So neo-determinism is also called as stop and go determinism. Stop and go determinism. I hope you have understood what does it mean by stop and go determinism. Agreed? Correct. So this particular approach is very, very important. So there were three approaches of man-environment relationship, which is learned by environmental studies in environmental studies: environmental determinism, possibilism, and stop and go determinism or neo-determinism. There are two types of environment: natural or physical environment controlled by law of nature, and the anthropogenic environment, which is a man-made environment controlled by human being. The economic development and environmental sustainability, mostly people believe that they cannot go hand in hand. If we want to have economic development, if we want to have roads, if we want to construct railways, if we want to construct bridges, if we want to construct airports, then we need to cut the trees. We need to change the path of the rivers. We need to degrade the soils. So environment will be degraded if we want to go for development. On the other hand, if you want to protect the environment, then development is not possible. So development and environment, or environmental sustainability and development, is just like, just like a weighing machine. If we put more stress on development, environment will get degraded. If we keep environment protected, development is not possible. So development and environmental sustainability may not go hand in hand. But as we have discussed in neo-determinism, we have to develop strategies, we have to develop approaches, we have to develop policies in a way that we can achieve development also and we can achieve environmental sustainability also. So when development and environmental sustainability go hand in hand, we can tackle various environmental issues and we can achieve the sustainable development. As far as the environmental issues are concerned, due to excessive economic development, the natural environment is getting degraded, the rivers are getting polluted, the snow cover is melting at a very faster rate, global climate is changing rapidly, seasonal transformations are taking place very fastly, Various species of animals and birds are disappearing at a very faster rate. And that is why various environmental issues are being increasing in intensity and number as well. We have pollution, we have global warming, we have acid rain, we have desertification, we have forest fire, we have different kinds of natural calamities. All these are the environmental issues. These environmental issues occur at three different levels. One, global level environmental issues, two, regional level environmental issues, and three, local level environmental issues. Global warming, climate change, and biodiversity loss are global level problem. The entire world is facing these problems. Regional environmental issues like desertification, acid rain are affecting a particular region. Like for example, Scandinavia is the European region wherein the acid rain is very common. So Scandinavian region is affected by acid rain. So that region is only affected. Rest of the part of the world is not affected. That's why it is called as regional environmental problem. And thirdly, local environmental problem. So if a pond nearby our area is getting polluted, if there is a garbage heap of garbage that is being thrown by people erratically in and around the railway stations, so all these environment are local environmental issues. So environmental issues can be classified at three different levels: local environmental issues, regional environmental issues, and global environmental issues. Although we have classified these at the three different levels, we need to understand that local environmental issues certainly become regional environmental issues. If the local environmental issues of Mumbai, Thane, Palghar, all these areas are having local environmental issues, it becomes a regional environmental issues. All regions are having environmental issues, it becomes a global environmental issue. So, if we want to solve the environmental problems, or if we want to find out the solution to environmental problems or environmental issues, we should think globally and we should act locally. So we should, if we are able to solve the environmental problems in the local area, we will be able to certainly solve the environmental problems at regional level and ultimately the global level. So these are the three levels of environmental issues. In the recent times, with the development in technology, the environmental issues are dealt by human being in a different manner. We are now having various technologies like remote sensing, GIS, GPS, tracking devices, navigation systems, various advances in physics and chemistry to do different kinds of lab experiments. So all these are the technological advancements that are helping us to monitor the environmental issues, and we will be able to find out solutions to it also. What is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to achieve sustainable development. In past couple of years back, we have come across a very global efforts by under the banner of United Nations Development Program. Global level, 17 issues have been identified, including poverty, gender justice, and all these are the major social and economic and environmental issues that have been designed, and 17 sustainable development goals have been um, identified. So we need to achieve these sustainable development goals by the year 2020-30. If we talk about each of these goals, they are either related to natural environment directly or indirectly. And that's the reason why environmental studies will help us out to understand the interrelationship between these sustainable development goals with each other, and also the way forward to achieve these sustainable development goals. I have already mentioned, no, nature of environmental studies. I have already mentioned it's a multidisciplinary nature because we need to require the knowledge or principles of both natural sciences and social sciences and also humanities to deal with the environmental problems. We need to, if for example, if we need to evaluate the water pollution is the environmental problems. If we need to measure the water pollution, we need to understand the biological principles. What are the chemical properties of water? What are the physical properties of water? So we need to use the knowledge about biology, chemistry, physics, ecology, geology, and other natural sciences to understand the level of environmental issues. Social sciences, including economics, sociology, political science, anthropology, and law, these are the social sciences which help us out, to understand what are the economic activities that are responsible for environmental problems, what are the social factors and political factors that are responsible for environmental problems, what are the anthropological factors that are controlling environmental issues, and what are the legal framework that is there for protection and conservation of natural environment. So what are the laws or what are the policies and what are the legal frameworks or environmental legislations that are there in place to control the environmental problems? So social sciences and principles of social sciences are also used in environmental studies. Environment cannot also separated from humanities like ethics, philosophy, and history. I will talk somewhere in the third or fourth lecture about fourth module about environmental ethics. So what is environmental ethics? Ethics is nothing but the feeling of what is right and what is wrong. If we are using plastic, we can say that we are not following environmental ethics. But if we reduce use of plastic or if we avoid use of plastic, that can be the viewpoint of environmental ethics. So what is right and wrong, whether it is good for environment or whether it is bad for environment, that kind of understanding of human being is related to environmental ethics. Environmental philosophy and historical approaches to environment is also helping us to understand the man-nature relationship. So, natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities or sciences related to humanities together helps to understand the environment better. That's why environmental studies is multidisciplinary in nature. Okay. So if we able to understand the interconnection between various environmental problems and the relation of these environmental problems with natural, social, and humanities, we will be able to deal with these environmental problems in a very comprehensive manner, and we will be able to find out solutions to that as well. Environmental studies is a very holistic. It doesn't take into consideration only one aspect of the environment. It also take into consideration physical, chemical, biological, social, economical, cultural factors together. All dimensions it will take into consideration, and it will try to identify solutions to these environmental problems, taking into consideration all other factors. And it also helps to understand environmental issues and interaction or interrelation between these environmental issues between the social and economic systems. Like for example, what are the social and economic factors that are causing water pollution? That can be studied in a holistic manner. What elements are there, pollution elements are enter into the water, that can be identified by biology, chemistry, and physics. These are the pure sciences. So this is how the holistic approach can help us out to deal with the natural processes more. Environmental studies is an applied science. Environmental study, what is applied science? Any science can be considered as applied when it helps to solve the real life problems. I would give a very simple example of mathematics. Mathematics is an applied science. Why? Because if your mama or if your father or if your mother gives you 100 rupees and asks you to bring some vegetables, the mathematical calculations will help you out to do this transaction in an appropriate manner. So real life issues or real life problems can be solved by using the knowledge of mathematics. That's why we called it as mathematics as a applied science. Similarly, studies is also applied science, because the knowledge of environmental studies will help us out to understand real environmental problems, real world environmental problems, and to find out practical solutions to these environmental problems or issues. Okay, so studies not only understand the environmental problems, but also it tries to find out the practical solutions to that. And if any science is solving the real life issues, then we can consider it as applied science, and that's why environmental studies is the applied science. It is also dynamic and evolving in nature, as I told you, that environmental problems are not similar with the development in technology and with changing in the environment. New environmental issues are creating, new environmental problems or new environmental challenges are evolving. I would give one example of very new environmental challenge comparatively. Earlier we used to have air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and say garbage pollution or land pollution kind of. But you must have seen that in urban areas like Mumbai, huge amount of construction is going on, and due to this construction, the dust particles is in suspension form in and around. Huge amount of dust is created. So this is a new environmental issues. What solutions do we find for that? Many times we spray water. There are some big machineries which are spraying water on the roadside, so that this particular dust, with the help of the spray, can settle on the ground, and the dust will be settled on the ground, and the air become clear. So this is how the new environmental challenges are coming with the advancement in human life and various new economic activities. And that's why we need to adapt. We need to learn this new environmental challenge. We have to adapt to the address to these new environmental issues. So if any new environmental problem is coming, we have to first of all learn these environmental issues, then adopt to address to these environmental issues, find out the new solutions. New problems will not be able to solve with the old solutions. We have to find out new solutions to solve the new problems, and that's why environmental studies is a very dynamic and evolving in nature, because it keep on changing its nature with changing the times and the dynamism in the environmental issues. Environmental studies is more concerned with human well-being. It's not like that environmental studies alone, it's speaking about the protection or conservation of natural environment. It is also taking into consideration human well-being, because human being is at the center of environmental studies. We need to ensure that environmental quality is also improved in order to provide appropriate lifestyle to human well-being. If environment is good, environmental quality is good, human life will also be appropriate. If environmental quality is not appropriate, then human life will also be not be able to sustain for a long time. And that's why we have to consider environmental quality and human well-being together in an integrated manner. And sustainable relationship between human being and environment, as I have made mention in the neo-determinism, we have to bridge the gap between human being and environment. We have to develop approach towards environmental friendly approach towards economic well-being, so that human well-being also will be able to achieve, and environmental quality will also be able to improve. And that's the reason why it is a very dynamic field and comprehensive field, which integrates all these approaches in a holistic manner. Okay. uh, I won't talk much about the scope of environmental studies, because it is already covered in the previous one. Environmental science, environmental ethics, environmental policies, environmental legislation, environmental education, all these are integrated in environmental issues, which I have already discussed in the previous lecture. I will share this PPT with you through Google Classroom possibly, so that you all will get access to this. When we talk about the interrelationship between environmental studies and other social and uh, pure sciences, we must understand that pure sciences, social sciences, humanities are associated with either one or the other environmental issues, and that's why we have to have integrated approach of all these sciences, including the earth sciences of geology, geography, weather and climatology, spatial science like geography, social science like economic, political science, legislation, philosophy and ethics, which are humanities, atmospheric sciences, ecology, biology, zoology, environmental chemistry. All these are the pure sciences which are also helping to address various environmental issues in an integrated manner. Okay, we'll try to understand the scope of environmental issues in 1 or 2 minutes. What are the environmental issues and which major subjects are dealing with that? Like, for example, air pollution and even water pollution is dealt by chemistry and chemical engineering. Air pollutants, human and its impact on human being and plant are dealt by zoology, botany, and various life sciences. Air pollution on material or buildings or structure are determined by meteorology, thermodynamics, and geographical studies. Effect of climate on air pollution is calculated and modeled by mathematical modeling. So here mathematics come into picture. Air pollution control system, wherein physics, chemistry and various branches of engineering help us to identify the solutions. History of air pollution and air pollution episodes. Here history come into picture. Economic impact of air pollution, like for example in Delhi, in every winter season in Delhi, the they due to intense air pollution, the factories are shut down, the uh, commercial activities are shut down. So this is having direct economic impact of air pollution on the economy. So economic and demography are getting up, are the sciences which are dealing with this. Sociological impact of air pollution will be dealing with the sociology, and this is how the various environmental issues are dealt by or are related to one or the other social, pure or humanities sciences. This is how the integrated approach of the environmental studies is concerned. Why to study environment? So what is the importance of environmental studies? Environmental studies help us out to understand the clarification on modern environmental concepts, how the environment is developing day by day, and how to conserve or how to protect the biodiversity. Environmental studies also help people to know about how to live sustainably and in what way we have to find out way of living so that the environment will be sustained. We will also help us to understand the use of natural resources more effectively if we have the knowledge of environmental studies. Environmental studies will also help us in understanding or developing the awareness about the behavior of organism under natural conditions. So interaction of living organisms around the with the surrounding. It also helps us in creating the knowledge about interrelationship between organisms and the communities, like man environment relationship and various dimensions about that. Environmental education is an important outcome of environmental studies. Rather, the major objective of environmental studies is to create public awareness or awareness among the people, educate the people regarding what are the environmental issues, what are the causes of environmental issues, and what are the ways by which we can deal with these environmental issues to find out the sustainable solutions. So that's why it is very, very important. Dear students, this is the point till which we have discussed what is environmental studies, what is the significance of environmental studies, what is the major scope of environmental studies, and what is the importance of environmental studies. I just wanted to understand whether you have understood with the help of a very small poll. Okay, just try to answer this in the chat box. The first question I am sending you is, okay, I'll be typing, you just read it. Yes, the poll has started. Correct. Answer is yes, natural environment and okay, I must close this end poll. Okay. Another question. या खाली या 4 नंबर मध्ये. हा या. Okay, so a human being is also a part of natural environment. It is not, it cannot be separated from natural environment. Okay, let me end this poll. And the third question, let me ask. All right, one more question. Nature controls the life of human being. Okay. Let us end the poll, see the results. Okay. Nature controls the life of human being. 68% of the students says that, and it is the an approach of environmental determinism. None of these is 16%. Neo-determinism is 72%. Possibilism is 4%. Uh, Answer is environmental determinism. So we'll go with the majority because environmental determinism speaks about the impact of nature on the human beings. All right. Uh, Dear students, since this is the first lecture, we'll stop here. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the concept of environment and components of environment. All right. I advise all the students to please maintain discipline during the lecture, particularly in chat box. Otherwise, strict action may be taken against those who are not maintaining the decorum. All right. I hope you have understood this lecture or enjoyed this lecture. All right. Thank you very much, students. See you in the next lecture. Thank you. Thank you.